Well, welcome back to another episode of Wine Time. We are once again here at the Yakima Valley Visitor Center. A big thanks to them for hosting us once again for another episode. I'm Austin Peppers, filling in for John Kennedy O'Connor, who is out this week. And today with me, my guest is Craig Kupp. Craig, thank you so much for coming down here and being with us this week.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So we are going to get to know you a little bit better, Craig, over this bottle of wine, which is, I hope I pronounced this correctly, it's a Petit Verdot with Cellars. It's a 2020 blend from Olson Vineyards, Yakima Valley. Interesting. And this is a red wine. You a big red wine fan?
Yeah, I prefer the reds.
Nice. Looks nice.
Very nice pour.
I try my hardest with the pours. I've watched too much Bar Rescue to with the pouring and all that. Awesome. Hopefully my pour looks good as well. Sweet. Alrighty.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's good.
Sweet. Awesome. So, wanted to start out. Obviously, you've grown up here in the Valley. You were born in Sunnyside, but then you ended up going to high school at Selah. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So, born in Sunnyside, back in the day, my dad was playing football at the time, and my parents, at that point, where were they? They had just moved to New Orleans. And so, but I was born in Sunnyside, but I grew up my very early years in New Orleans, and until about third grade. Through my third grade, my dad retired, wanted to come back. Thought they were going to settle in Sunnyside, and ended up in Selah, and the rest is history there. So
awesome. Now, while your time at Sunnyside as well, I know you were a 3-sport athlete. It was football, basketball, and tennis. Is that
that's correct.
Awesome, sweet. What did you like about going to Selah High School and playing sports there?
I like the community. The smaller community, not super small, but small enough where you knew everybody around, and so really enjoyed the community aspect. From a playing just athletic standpoint, I mean, I just love athletics. I love football and basketball. Loved baseball when I was younger, so yeah, just some really great memories of growing up in Selah, and we lived a little bit outside of town, so we had some room to roam and ride our bikes and stuff like that, and go-karts and all that kind of stuff. So just fond memories of growing up out in Selah.
Awesome, I love it. Now I want to jump back as well, because I know you mentioned your father, Craig Kupp, who was an offensive lineman in the NFL, played with the Saints. I know played with, I believe, the Dallas Cowboys. Is that correct?
He was with He started with the Cowboys, then went to the Redskins, the Commanders now, but the Washington Redskins. Went to the Saints, went to Atlanta, then went back to the Saints. So he had quite a bit of in his early years, he kind of moved around quite a bit, but then most of the time with the New Orleans Saints, and it just had a wonderful career, 12-year career, and ended up, he's in their Hall of Fame and all that kind of stuff. So just super proud of my dad and what he was able to accomplish, with his football career, and just set a real nice path for me, and then subsequently for our kids and all that kind of stuff. So
awesome. What was it like watching your dad play football as you were growing up?
Oh, I loved it. Game day was fun, but again, as a little kid, you have a chance to watch the ball, and my dad was an offensive lineman, so he was in the trenches and getting beat up and beating other people up in the trenches, and so it was kind of hard to watch him specifically as a little kid, but that's back in the days of Archie Manning and
right.
Danny Abramowitz, and just being able to see guys like that play, and Walter Payton was just coming into the league when my dad was leaving, and so and I was getting a little bit older. I was in third grade, where I was pretty tuned in and locked in and of what was going on. And so just fabulous memories. Some of the funnest memories are just like going to the locker room or going to training camp and in between practices trying to run the little rope things they used to run and go off the blocking dummies and that kind of stuff and getting autographs from some of the other players. Just to be able to have that experience as a first grader, second grader, third grader is just that's pretty special.
Awesome. Now, obviously you watched your dad play and then you ended up playing as well, of course, Selah, and then you went off to college to play football as well. You started off at Montana Tech University and then eventually transferred to Pacific Lutheran University, and you had quite a tenure there at PLU. You were part of I think it's called NAIA Division II team that won the championship your sophomore year, and then you were there your junior and senior year as well, and started there a couple of years and had really good success both of those years. What was that experience like being able to play for Pacific Lutheran?
Yeah, that again, wonderful experience. My very best buddies are guys that I played with there. I'm in contact with literally every day in a text deal. But to be able to play there, we had a coach by the name of Frosty Westering.
Okay.
And he had just a philosophy that was very different. He led with love. Football and love. It seems like oil and water, but his whole philosophy was love one another, and fear will go away, and that you'll be free just to be able to go out and perform your very best. And so that's kind of culture that he created, and different. It's a lot different than some of the old school mentality of just yelling at people and beating them over the head to get them to do what you want to do. It was kind of turn that upside down a little bit, and but to be able to play in that culture and to be able to develop relationships with both coaches and players, where it's built on trust and loving one another and supporting one another and lifting each other up and as a group, and to be able to be a part of that was really neat and kind of shaped a lot of my life. My parents are fantastic and are come from that mold as well. So I had a lot of that at home, but to be able to be put into a football situation where you're experiencing that, it just was really valuable for me as a person.
Awesome. Now your name is also actually etched forever in PLU history. A little while ago, you were inducted into the Pacific Lutheran University Athletics Hall of Fame. So, what was your reaction when you found out you were going to be an Athletic Hall of Famer for PLU?
Oh, it was special. It was, it's neat. They had these pillars at school, and they'd have plaques, and you always think, oh my gosh, it'd be great one day to be on one of those things, but it's kind of just a dream, and then for it to happen. And what was really special about the year that I was inducted is my wife Karin was inducted at the same time. She was a soccer player, and so we got to go in together, and so it was really a special time for Karin and I and for our family, so very thankful to be in there.
Did you meet Karin at Pacific Lutheran University?
Yeah, sure did. Yeah, that we met there. She obviously was playing soccer, and we started dating towards the end of my junior year.
Okay.
At school. She's 2 years younger than me. And so, at any rate, I saw her. I saw her walking across Red Square one day. She decided to wear a dress and fix her hair, and I think, what? Is that Karin? It's kind of embarrassing to admit that, and then it was a month later that I asked her out. So, and then we hit it off right away, and so anyway. Yeah, we met there.
Awesome. I love it. Well, now fast forward to today as well. You and your wife now have 4 kids. You and I were just talking about that a little bit ago, and all of them have kind of followed in your roots somewhat. All of them have played sports, essentially. You got Cooper, you have Caitlin, you have Kobe,
Kettner.
or Kettner, and then Kobe?
Kobe,
Yes.
and then Katrina.
Katrina, yes.
Yeah. So athletics are kind of big in our family, and you grow up as when they were little teeny, we had little basketball in the living room, basketball set that Cooper and I used to play with, and we just stuff that I was interested in. So that's kind of what you start doing with them, and then they all kind of took to it. Cooper and Kettner both really enjoyed football, especially. Cooper played basketball as well in high school, and Kettner played football, a little bit of baseball. Kobe played mostly baseball. He played golf, baseball. He played football early on, and then Katrina was a soccer player. So just kind of grew up with it, and that's what they're interested in. And I look back on it, like with Kobe wasn't that quite into it. I mean, he enjoyed it, but I think, and we kind of blew it a little bit. We should have got him into Cub Scouts and that kind of stuff. He's big. He loves to hunt now and that kind of stuff.
Nice.
And so I feel like I kind of missed the boat a little bit about helping him do some of that stuff early on, but a little bit outside of my abilities.
Awesome. So what has it been like watching them have all this success in athletics, all your kids?
Yeah, it's really been fun. I mean, and that's the first word that comes to mind, just fun. And not only just some of the success that they've had, but just it's kind of pulled our family together, and those events and games and those kinds of things have brought our family together. My folks and Karin's folks and uncles and aunts and then friends too. Just when at Eastern, we had my uncle played at Eastern, and when the boys were playing there, he and his good buddy put on a big tailgating thing every week, every home game when we were there, and just time to come together, with lots of family, lots of friends, and then you watch a game, get to see your kids, doing what they love to do and having success. Just really enjoyable. It's just so much fun, and luckily, with Coop still continuing to be able to do that and still be able to go and see him play, and hopefully several more years of that, but yeah, it's been awesome. It really, really, really fun.
Now, and Cooper, as we obviously know, is a receiver for the Seahawks. Now, we'll touch on Cooper a little more here in a second. Before we get to his NFL experience, I do want to touch on yours as well. I know you played in the NFL for a little bit as well. You were a quarterback, spent a little bit of time with the Arizona Cardinals, Dallas Cowboys. So what is your takeaway from the NFL experience that you had?
Yeah, my personal experience is kind of, just to be honest, was one of being unfulfilled, I guess, is the first kind of word that comes to my mind. I just feel like that kind of fell short of what I was capable of. I was only in the league for 2.5 years, on the practice squad the first year, and then active roster the next year. Was drafted by the Giants in the 5th round, and so had some opportunity. The Giants were a real veteran team. And, Bill Parcells was the coach, and Bill Belichick was a defensive coordinator.
Wow.
And Tom Coughlin, receivers coach. I mean, it was a veteran staff with a veteran team, and they really didn't have a whole lot of time to develop a young guy. It was a win now situation for them, and so that was the first position that I kind of stepped into. But you always look back at things you could have done differently,
right?
And of how you could have improved and things you should have worked on specifically. So I have a lot of that, unfortunately, with my pro career. On the positive side, though, I was able to brush shoulders with some, Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, Jimmy Johnson with the Cowboys, Joe Bugel with the Cardinals, and the old name Tim Rosenbaugh from WSU, played at WSU, and Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, all those stuff. So a lot of really neat things that were part of it. It was very quick, very short period of time, but very fortunate to have that opportunity to even be there. And so that's kind of my pro experience.
We got to work with really a true Hall of Fame class of both coaches and players. I mean, that's one heck of an experience that not a lot of people get to really experience or encounter much.
Yeah. I mean, really, it was. You look at that Cowboys team. In fact, I don't know if you watch it. They just had a special on Netflix about Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, the rise of of his thing, and it was really interesting to watch that because I was in the room with a lot of that stuff that the early days of when they were building that, and you're right, just to be able to go to work every day with Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith and be able to sit in a room with Norv Turner, who was our offensive coordinator, and or Jimmy Johnson. Yeah, not a lot of people get to do that, and so that was something I hold dear in my life.
Awesome. Is that something that you had always wanted to do? Your life was be a professional football player?
Oh yeah. Especially with watching my dad and just being in that environment. As a little kid, that's what I told people: dude, what are you gonna do when you get older? I'm gonna play football. But I believed it. I really did. I believed it, and I look back at the path that I took. Small school, Montana Tech, and transferring out of there. I finished that year at YVC here in town, and thankful for that, and then transferred to Pacific Lutheran. Again, it was NAI Division II football, and there's just not a lot of people get an opportunity out of a smaller school like that, and just to be able to have that opportunity was awesome, and it's not the path that the normal path that people take to the NFL, but I think part of it too is just belief that was going to happen as a young kid.
Right.
I think there's something to that, and I think back in the midst of it, when I was a freshman and sophomore in college at a small school, that maybe wasn't necessarily in the forefront of my mind.
Right.
But it was always there, and so again, just fortunate for it to work out the way it did.
Awesome. Now, looking today, your son Kettner is also a coach there at Pacific Lutheran University. What does he coach in football over there?
He's a defensive coordinator.
Defensive coordinator. Okay.
Yeah. He started as a linebackers coach, and he's worked his way up to the defensive coordinator. Real proud of him, and just really fun to see him do what he does, and he's some of the frosty stuff that my coach at PLU is kind of rubbed off on him, and so he incorporates some of that stuff in his coaching, and which is wonderful for me to see and for my friends to see too that experienced that back in the day, and so it's great to see him go, and he's just got a lot of passion for football, and I'm excited to see what this will lead to. He's got great aspirations, and we'll see.
Awesome. And then your other son Cooper, obviously wide receiver with the Seattle Seahawks, first year after spending a lot of time with the Los Angeles Rams, but now that he's here, playing with Seattle. What is that like, being able to watch him for our home state team?
Yeah, that's fun. It's really a dream come true for Karin and I to have Kupp and his family, his wife and his family. They've got 3 boys. Close and here where we can go visit and spend more time with them, and then game days are a lot simpler. Just head on over and Karin's mom is still over in Tacoma, and Kettner and Ken are all in Tacoma too. So a lot of times we'll either stay with Kupp and Anna or go over and spend time with Karin's mom and Kettner and Ken, and then all head to the game, and it's special. Neat.
Awesome. Did you ever think, because whenever Cooper catches a ball, I've even heard it at away games as well, when Cooper makes a reception, you hear the crowd chant "Coop" as loud as they can. I mean, did you ever think you would ever hear something like that for your son?
No, it's kind of a little glimpse into my warped mind or whatever. But when we were thinking about names, I wanted a name that I'm thinking more high school loudspeaker, that would sound cool coming over a loudspeaker, And Cooper, we changed his name, but right at the, I've got the piece of paper in the hospital as we're naming him, and I said, no, let's go with Cooper. And Karin agreed to it, but I thought that would sound cool. Cooper Kupp coming over the loudspeaker, so.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, we are starting to run out of time a little bit, so I do want to shift over and ask you some, has my phone locked me out of them? There they are, some this or that questions, just to have a little bit of fun. I got 5 questions lined up for you. So the first one I want to ask you is, I know you've played football, basketball, and tennis, and football was your career, so I'm curious, basketball or tennis?
You talk about today or back in the day?
Either or.
Yeah, so back in the day, I'd say basketball. I love basketball. Today would be tennis.
Okay, nice, sweet. Who's your favorite tennis player today?
Oh gosh, I honestly, I don't watch a whole lot of tennis, and so I don't want to throw a name out because.
Awesome. And then shifting over to Seattle sports, the Mariners or the Kraken?
Oh, Mariners.
Mariners.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. This last weekend, Cal Raleigh was in our suite.
Yes, that's right. He was at the game.
So,
yeah,
I got to meet him. So that was a real treat for us to be able to meet him and just to see what they did this last year. That was so fun. To see the city come alive and support them. That was and just their grit. That was awesome.
That was a lot of fun to watch. So next, this or that question. I know football and basketball, it's a lot of time playing in the fall and winter seasons. So on that note, fall or winter?
Fall.
Fall.
I don't know why I'm thinking about that. Football season, I love the fall. Yeah. I shouldn't even have to think about that.
Awesome. Well, I know we have wine here in front of us as well, but you think of Yakima, we're really well known for wine and then hops, beer as well. So on that note, beer or wine?
Both.
Both?
Yeah, both, but I would probably wine if I'm gonna sit down and relax, and if I'm with a bunch of friends, it's beer. If I'm just kind of relaxing with a small group, it's wine. So I love red wines, and and Karin and I got a little bit more into it now, and so
nice.
yeah, something we enjoy.
Awesome. Now the final this or that question. I'm very curious about your answer on this. Lumen Field or SoFi Stadium?
Oh. Okay, I know you don't like partial answers, but here's my honest answer. SoFi, I don't think you can beat SoFi Stadium. Just walking in there and the experience of that big, whatever they call that big screen, the
Oh yeah, the huge circular thing at the huge circular screen. That's very not like the Cowboys Jumbotron, but it's very thin and it kind of wraps around everywhere.
And it's on both sides, so you can see both sides, and depending on what angle you're at, you can see the front side and the others, the inside of the other side,
right?
Because it is it's an oval, in there. They've got lights and overstimulation almost, but it's such a cool thing. SoFi Stadium by itself, but the crowd, you can't beat Lumen Field. You can't beat the 12s because of that environment of just of what the crowd creates is pretty special. And so I know that's probably the worst answer not the answer you were looking for, but that's the honest answer. The environment, the game day environment in Seattle is pretty special.
Yeah, no, I love that answer. Really good answer. I love that. I totally get it. I've never been to SoFi Stadium myself, but I've heard great things about it when people talk about it and describe it. And then Lumen Field, obviously, like you mentioned, that fan experience, you really can't beat that. Literally home of the 12s. I'm not 100% sure on this. I think Lumen Field is first in the NFL since 2005 for opposing false starts, I believe is something like that. But that's really a big effect on the crowd there at those home games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's real. It's real. That's one thing Cooper said, when he came, he goes, oh, good, I don't have to play against that now. I can play with that. So
you get the quiet version of the crowd.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because it's significant. So
awesome. Well, Craig, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Again, we were just sipping on some red wine, Petit Verdot from Witt Cellars, Olson Vineyards, Yakima Valley. It's a 2020 blend. Big shout out to you guys. It's a very good blend, very good wine. Cheers to you once again. Very good. Right. Awesome. So, once again, thank you so much, Craig. And that is it for this episode of Wine Time. You can check them out on our YouTube channel, the other episodes, and stay tuned for next week. And of course, once again, big thank you to the Yakima Valley Visitor Center for hosting us once again. Have a good one.